You can listen to us on 94.9 FM in Dakar through our website www.wadr.org.
News, talk, music, get it all 24 hours on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM Dakar.
WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's 6 p.m. in Dakar. Good evening and welcome to Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and worldwide at wadr.org. Coming up in the news, legal practitioners in Nigeria react to Nnamdi Kanu's request to represent himself in court.
That's going to be one of the novel cases around terrorism in Nigeria. So I don't think it's a wise or a smart move to say he wants to enter into self-representation.
Tensions mount in Cameroon amid internet cult and preparation for declaration of October 12 election results.
Videos and pictures are difficult to download or upload. Cameroonians have been experiencing this across the 10 regions of the country.
Guinea formalizes candidacy and campaign financing costs for political parties as the country readies for December 28 polls. And Ghana's parliament rejects reintroduction of anti-gay bill, citing error. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
Here is Abdullahi Hassan with Newslink.
Many thanks for joining our broadcast. Let's begin in Nigeria as the incarcerated leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has requested to represent himself in court. Nnamdi Kanu's decision follows the withdrawal of his lead counsel, Kanu Agabi, along with other attorneys from his defense team. Kanu had, during his defense last week, told the court that it lacked jurisdiction to try him when the presiding judge offered to assign him a lawyer. His motion also coincided with a magistrate court's directive to remand Nnamdi Kanu's special counsel, Aloy Ejimako, along with 12 others who were protesting against his ongoing trial. 12 individuals have been charged with various offenses, including criminal conspiracy, disobedience of a lawful order, inciting disturbance, and disturbing public peace, which contravene multiple sections of Nigeria's penal code. While his case resumes on Friday, October 24, Barrister Bash Adeshina, a constitutional lawyer and legal researcher, sheds light on Kanu's request.
Yes, bear in mind the severity of the charge against Nnamdi Kanu. I think, and I advise strongly, not just as a lawyer, but as a legal researcher, he needs not just a legal team, but a competent legal team. But in providing more context to the issue, yes, it is his constitutional right. It is clearly enshrined in the Constitution, specifically Section 33, which is an offshoot of Section 36, that said an accused person has a right to counsel of his choice, or what we call self-representation. That is his right, and only he can exercise that right. And also there's a provision in the Administration of Criminal Justice Act that also mandated the court that wherein an accused lacks the resources to get a legal team, the court should appoint. Even though it's a mandatory provision, still the provision of an act cannot override that constitutional provision that gives that accused the right to choose, to elect. So in law, it is not that, or procedurally, it is not that an accused person, he or she, does not have legal representation based on his or her own choosing. So if he has chosen not to be represented by a legal team, so that would not vitiate the proceeding. The only instances where there will be a problem is when he or she was denied that right of either legal representation by counsel of choice or self-representation.
Bash Adeshina is a constitutional lawyer and legal researcher in Nigeria. Meanwhile, authorities in Nigeria's north-central state of Niger have revised the death toll from Tuesday's fuel tanker explosion. Dozens of people were killed and nearly 70 others, mostly women, were injured after a massive fire ignited when residents of Badegi, a community along a major connecting highway, tried to scoop fuel from the tumbled tanker. The Niger State Emergency Management Agency told WADR that as of Wednesday evening, some victims were transferred to Abuja, the nation's capital, for advanced medical care. Dr. Abdullahi Ara, Director General of SEMA, stated that the United States government has collected data on families affected and will provide them with relief materials. He joins us later in the news for additional information. In Benin, the National Autonomous Electoral Commission, SENA, has selected two doors for the April 26, 2026 presidential election, rejecting that of the main opposition Democrat Party. The Electoral Commission defended its decision on insufficient sponsorship from the opposition party. According to SENA, the pair presented by the Democrats did not reach the required threshold of 28 valid sponsorships, totaling only 27. The duos Kosi Mbukwe, Romuald Wadani, Marian Chabi Talata, and Paul Hunkpe, Rock Judicial Hunwenu, were deemed complete and compliant out of the 5 files submitted, said SENA. Former Minister of Economy and Finance Romuald Wadani, a presidential candidate, is one of 2 candidates authorized to compete to succeed President Patrice Talon. Rejected candidates have 48 hours to appeal to the Constitutional Court, which will then conduct a medical check on the successful candidates before publishing the final list.
According to the document published by the DGE, the required deposit is set at 900 million Guinean francs, or just over 58 million CFA francs. This amount must be paid into the public treasury no later than 50 days before the election. At the same time, the electoral body announced that campaign expenses must not exceed 40 billion Guinean francs, or just over 2 billion CFA francs per candidate. Any amount spent beyond this ceiling will be considered a violation of the electoral code and subject to legal sanctions. Cherno Suleiman Balde, a declared independent candidate, described the amount as exorbitant. By contrast, Abdullahi Koruma, another presidential candidate, considers the decision acceptable. Among citizens, some believe the measure is justified. A total of 50 candidacies from political parties and 16 independent candidacies have been recorded, according to a count by the Director General of the DGE. During a recent press briefing on the electoral process, the main opposition parties, namely the RPG Accentiel and the UFDG, do not appear on the provisional list.
As a report by Imo Edet, which talks about preparations and formalizing of candidacy phase and political parties campaigning caused by the General Directorate of Elections in Guinea. The latest decision also includes a cap on campaign spending. Now, according to the document published by the DGE, the required deposit is set at 900 million Guinean francs, or just over 58 million CFA francs. This amount must be deposited with the public treasury not later than 50 days before the election. Let's now remind you that the electoral campaign in Côte d'Ivoire is in full swing ahead of the presidential elections set for October 25, 2025. The candidates in the running have less than 24 hours to convince voters. In continuation of the WADR candidate profiling segment, we highlight Ahua Don Melo. The former close associate of former President Laurent Gbagbo has distanced himself from his mentor to enter the presidential race. As an independent candidate, he proposes to be the alternative for a more prosperous Côte d'Ivoire. Usman Omar has the portrait.
He is one of the serious challengers to incumbent President Alassane Ouattara in this presidential election. Ahua Don Melo, an Ivorian public figure who embodies the values of excellence, integrity and sovereignty. ADM, as he is known to those close to him, was born on June 23, 1958 in Bongouanou, a town in the Morono region of east-central Côte d'Ivoire. He earned his baccalaureate at the Lycée Classique de Boaké at a young age, before earning his engineering degree at the Félix Houphouët-Boigny National Polytechnic Institute in Yamoussoukro. ADM then flew to France to continue his studies at the prestigious École Nationale des Ponts Chaussées in Paris, where he graduated with a Doctor of Engineering degree in bridges and roads at the age of 27. In 1983, he met Laurent Gbagbo in France, the former Ivorian president who was in exile at the time. After discussions with him, Wadr Melo joined the Ivorian Popular Front, FPI. With Laurent Gbagbo, Wadr Melo's ideals were, first and foremost, a left-wing sovereigntist Ivorian society focused on innovation. It was then that he became Director General of the National Bureau of Technical Studies and Development under the former Ivorian president in 2000. Wadr Melo also served as Minister of Equipment and Sanitation from 2010 to 2011, government spokesperson and special advisor to the president. Exiled on April 11, 2011, the date of Laurent Gbagbo's arrest, Wadr Melo forged an international career, notably in development matters in several African countries. From 2017 to 2021, a long-time activist in the PPACI founded by Laurent Gbagbo in 2021, Wadr Melo eventually distanced himself from the opposition party after its leader's candidacy for the 2025 presidential election was rejected. He then declared himself an independent candidate for the election scheduled for Saturday, October 2025. Wadr Melo positions himself as an alternative to both the ruling power and the historical figures of the opposition.
Usman Omar with the profile of Wadr Melo, a presidential candidate in October 25 Cote d'Ivoire presidential election.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Remember, we stream live at wadr.org. In Cameroon, internet access is significantly disrupted as protests continue over alleged irregularities in the October 12 presidential polls. Internet monitor NetBlock said on Thursday that ongoing disruption to internet connectivity in Cameroon may limit coverage of events on the ground. On Wednesday, the Constitutional Council threw out all petitions contesting the presidential election, paving the way for full results to be announced. Since then, protests fled in several cities after partial election results reported by local media showed incumbent Paul Biya on course to be declared the winner. Clashes broke out between security forces and opposition supporters in the northern cities of Maroua and Garoua. Solomon Aborem, a Cameroonian journalist, joins us with more details.
Late Wednesday evening, there was a document that was signed by the incumbent president, Paul Biya, stating that today was to be a public holiday. Same date, another document was from the Constitutional Council president, Clement Atangana, giving instructions to the director of the conference center in Yaoundé to prepare the venue for the proclamation of the results come the 27th of October 2025. These conflicting information from government has certainly put the country into what I would say confusion, because in my city, Limbe, in the southwest region, some people didn't go to work. Some children didn't go to school because their teachers had asked them not to come. Coming back to the issue of the internet perturbation, it's been like this for the past 1 week. You can only get basically text messages, videos and pictures are difficult to download or upload. Cameroonians have been experiencing this across the 10 regions of the country. We wouldn't want to say categorical that it is an internet shutdown, but again, the perturbation have become recurrent with all the networks that we have so it's a real crucial issue in terms of the network accessibility prior to the proclamation of the results of the October 12 presidential elections.
Solomon Agborem, a Cameroonian journalist speaking there. Away from Central African nation to the Sahel, precisely Mali, authorities in the country have announced the suspension of the resumption of operations by Jara Transport Company. The decision follows the circulation last week on social media of a video in which the JNIM extremist group was seen accepting the company's apology, allegedly allowing it to resume transport services. The Malian authorities, however, suspect the act of a possible agreement between the transport company and the armed group. This development comes as JNIM continues to attack convoys escorting fuel trucks across the country. Here is more with Augustine Kwali.
In a letter sent on Wednesday to the Jara Transport Company, the authorities instructed the company to suspend its operations until further notice. According to a statement from the Ministry of Transport, the decision aims to verify the authenticity of a video suggesting a possible agreement between the transport company and the Group for the Support of Islam and Muslims, JNIM. The ministry also clarified that this measure is temporary, pending the creation of the necessary conditions for the company to resume normal operations. Last week, Jara Transport had announced the reopening of its routes after the lifting of a travel ban by the armed group. This development comes as JNIM continues to enforce a blockade on major highways, preventing fuel from entering the country. On Tuesday, the armed group set fire on several dozen fuel trucks between Sikasso and Zekwe near the border with Cote d'Ivoire. Prime Minister Abdoulaye Maïga described this as a change in modus operandi and a deliberate attempt to destabilize the country. In Bamako and across the country, the fuel crisis has persisted for more than 3 weeks, severely affecting the daily lives of many Malians. To address this crisis, the authorities announced the creation of a management and monitoring system, which will, among other things, assess petroleum product levels at border offices, monitor available stocks across the territory, and coordinate fuel distribution to gas stations.
Augustine Kole with that report filed in by WADR's Bamako correspondent Aliu Cham. You are listening to Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Legal practitioners in Nigeria react to Nnamdi Kanu's request to represent himself in court. Tensions mount in Cameroon amid internet court and preparation for declaration of October 12 election results. Guinea formalizes candidacy and campaign financing costs for political parties as the country readies for December 28 polls. Still ahead in the news, Ghana's parliament rejects reintroduction of anti-gay bill, citing error. We also have the guest interview and sports news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Many thanks for staying with us. The National Human Rights Commission of the Gambia is calling for urgent reorientation and training of police officers. The Commission's appeal follows growing concerns about the use of excessive force by the police during public demonstrations. The Rights Commission says the reorientation is particularly important as the country heads towards the 2026 election year amid rising frustration over corruption and governance issues. Sankle Janko has more.
Recent protests by young Gambians demanding an end to corruption, transparency in the sale of former President Yahya Jammeh's assets, and the reinstatement of former Auditor General were met with heavy police response. More than 30 protesters were arrested and subsequently released. Most recently, a young man died from police brutality. The public outrage by these incidents has renewed debate about the state of policing in the country. Institutions like the National Human Rights Commission have also expressed deep concern over the situation. Emmanuel Diouf is the chairman of the commission.
And it is a concern that the National Human Rights Commission has raised with the Police High Command even recently. Of late, the way public assemblies are policed have raised a lot of concern.
Diouf believes Gambian law enforcement needs to be reoriented ahead of the 2026 elections.
The issue of public demonstration is not going away anywhere. We have a very youthful population. They are out in the streets demanding whether it's corruption, whether it's issues that concerns them, and the police must be reoriented in the way they deal. We have gone past the era of Yahya Jammeh, and this is the fact that we need to know. So if you are recruiting new staff, they must also be reoriented in ways of policing public assemblies, especially as we go through an election cycle.
The NHRC says it will continue to engage with state institutions to ensure that the Gambia upholds its democratic and human rights commitments.
Sankule Janko with that report. Let's now take you to Ghana, where the parliament has halted the reintroduction of the controversial Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, widely known as the Anti-Gay Bill, after it appeared on the order paper by mistake. The bill, officially known as the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, had been listed for consideration on Tuesday, October 21, but was absent from the business agenda the following day. The development sparked questions from minority MPs and renewed debate over the bill's current status. From Accra, Nadre Tete reports.
The bill, sponsored by Reverend John Intimfojo, Samuel Nati George, and 8 other MPs, was advertised for consideration on Tuesday but was never formally laid before the House. Majority Leader Mahama Yaraga told journalists earlier at a briefing that both he and the Speaker were taken aback by the listing, explaining that the legislation had already been passed by the previous Parliament and forwarded to the Presidency for assent. He said the Clerk of Parliament later confirmed that the advertisement was made in error, prompting its removal from the order paper. On the floor, Deputy Minority Chief Whip Habib Idrisu raised concerns over the sudden disappearance of the bill from Wednesday's agenda.
Mr. Speaker, it is a serious matter because we cannot yesterday have bills advertised on the order paper and today same bills have been missing without anything being explained to anybody. You know, this is a serious matter. I have raised this last meeting where 2 men were kissing at the Independence Square. So this LGBT bill cannot be taken out from the order paper.
Reiterating his earlier position, the Majority Leader, Mahama Yaraga, maintained that the House cannot debate the bill again unless the President formally returns it for consideration.
We didn't see the need to reconsider a bill that has already been passed by this House, waiting for presidential assent. So Speaker then actually instructed the clerk to reconsider his action. I believe it is in that spirit that today the table office did not advertise that bill.
For WADR, Nadidi Tete, Accra.
Politics,
Analysis on major news,
social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
This segment of Newslink takes us back to Nigeria, where a tank explosion resulted in the death of more than 40 people, with nearly 70 others, mostly women, being injured. The massive fire ignited after residents of Badegi, a community along a major connecting highway, went to scoop fuel from the tumbled tanker. The Niger State Disaster Management Agency told WADR that as of Wednesday evening, some victims were transferred to Abuja, the nation's capital, for advanced medical care. Our guest is Dr. Abdullahi Ara, Director General of SEMA, who explains the cause of the fatal incident and measures taken by the state to prevent such disasters, which are frequent in Niger.
Primarily, the cause of the accident is a bad road because they are undertaking the repairs for the past year now. So that particular portion, they have not yet done it. So trucks are having it very difficult to have easy passage.
What is the death toll so far and the number of injuries?
So far, as at the last count this afternoon, the total number of deaths are 42. Mostly are females, mostly women. Then we also have 52 that are injured. They are in various hospitals. 40 of them also have been evacuated to Abuja Hospital for comprehensive and immediate treatment. Because I can assure you that government have made effort to procure all the drugs that is presently being in use for the victims.
So are there measures being taken to avoid such occurrence of tanker explosion in Niger State?
Yes, already, before now, there are a lot of measures that were put in place. Like we have undertook adequate sensitization among the citizens living the corridor of this Lagos or Kwajaba axis. We undertook extensive sensitization on the need for people to take extra caution. Not even tanker, every kind of truck that fell down along the highway, they will go and take advantage of cutting away goods in those vehicles. We have undertaken massive sensitization on that, if not 3 times within this year alone. We have done that. So I honestly cannot tell why this should occur again, honestly.
What are the measures or laws governing Tenga stroke flying major roads across Nigeria and specifically Niger State to avoid these Tenga's explosion resulting into the death of ordinary citizens?
As far as heavy or articulated trucks is concerned on their travels, government cannot regulate their time of travel because mostly they use night hours to travel, mostly, if not for the security situation that most of them now travel in the daytime. So to be precise, there have not been regulated time for travels. They travel mostly at night to arrive their destination in the morning. And operational procedures, yes, government as authority undertook sensitization in various motor parks, markets, to continue to educate the drivers, tanker drivers, truck drivers, on the need for them to conduct the necessary safety, like avoiding too much high speed, unnecessary overloading during travels. So that law is still in force. And I may wish to let you know that Niger State, we have a joint committee that is in place by the governor to oversee our highways along the corridor, this corridor road from Mokwa Jaba down to Mina, then Abuja axis. There is stringent measures in terms of overspeeding, reckless driving, and what have you.
Dr. Abdullahi Ara, Director General of the Niger State Emergency Management Agency in Nigeria. In the sporting world, big week in African football. The CAF Awards 2025 shortlist is out. Ashraf Hakimi and Mohamed Salah lead the race for Player of the Year, with Osimhen, Sarr and Njai also in the mix. CAF has confirmed the Champions League and Confederation Cup group stage draw for November 3rd in Johannesburg as clubs battle this weekend for a spot in the top 16. In Morocco, the Under-20 World Champions got a royal welcome in Rabat, hosted by Crown Prince Moulay El Hassan after their historic triumph in Chile. And speaking of champions, Victor Osimhen was unstoppable, scoring 2 goals and an assist in Galatasaray beat Bodo Glimt for their second straight Champions League win. Elsewhere, Chelsea defeated Ajax 5-1, Liverpool defeated Eintracht Frankfurt 5-1, Real Madrid against Juventus 1-0, and Bayern Munich 4-0 against Club Brugge. And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Mustafa Sek and Ismaila Kamara for the technical support. Do interact with us via social media platforms X, Instagram and Facebook at WADR English. We stream live at wadr.org. Coming up at the bottom of the hour is a rebroadcast of WADR's Environment Program and Viroscope. I'm Abdullahi Hassan. Good evening.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.